Hello everyone, welcome back. This is a request, Know Your Ally Britain. I've got some hummus. Taste of the South fried pickle and ranch dip. I got a giant cluster of, I don't know what in the middle. Sour cream maybe. Got some Nando bread. Got some chips. It's gonna be a good day. So we're gonna watch this video. I'm gonna react to it. I'm gonna eat some food, and we're all gonna play with our nips sometime during the video. This is gonna be 3 14-minute videos. All right, get your shirts off and get ready to tweak them nipples. Here we go. Kind of reminds me of a Nazi propaganda video. Oh, what a block. You know it's a violent game when the ref has to carry a pistol.
That game wasn't won by the man who made that touchdown. It was won by a team, and every man on the team had a share in winning it. We're playing another kind of a game now. Only this one isn't for fun. It's for keeps. And this game won't be won by any single player either. It'll be won by a team. A team called the United Nations. The ball will be carried by the men in the backfield. The tough little guy from China, Big Joe Russia, John Britain, and a guy called Yank, the 4 greatest backs in the world.
John Britain?
So let's take a look at the men who carry the ball with us. Who are they? How do they live? What makes them tick? Let's start with the one that's toughest to understand, the one we know just enough about to confuse us, John Britain.
Here's where he lives. A little island no larger than the state of Idaho. 500,000 people live in Idaho.
Wow.
96 times that many live in Britain. The Nazis and the Japs scream about Lebensraum, living space. But there are more people on a square mile of Britain than a square mile of Germany or Italy or Japan. More congestion than practically any place on earth except the New York subway or a sardine can. And that's a clue that explains a lot about John Britain. We build front porches on our houses because we didn't want to miss the chance to see our neighbors. But John Britain hides himself in a little box and plants a hedge around that to make sure he doesn't. Living that close to neighbors, privacy is part of the pursuit of happiness. And in the
I don't mind a porch, but I also want bushes up because I enjoy privacy. So give me a porch with giant hedges. I'm a happy man.
sardine can called Britain, they learn to get on with their neighbors. They have to. He's too damn close. That's why they have so little crime in Britain. Believe it or not, even in wartime, the British cop does not carry a gun, nor does the professional crook. And in 1926, when the world heard of this stoppage of work in Britain, that industry, transportation, the whole life of the country had been paralyzed by a general strike, it was still more surprised next day to learn that the strikers were playing football with the cops. You can only understand that if you live in a sardine can.
The second clue to this guy on our team. No part of Britain is more than 100 miles from the sea.
Oh, wow.
Every day for hundreds of years, years of peace and years of war, John Britton has seen ships sail from his island to the seven seas. That means that whenever John Britton wants to bust out of his sardine can, it's the sea that gets him. He's been busting out for hundreds of years, and that led to Australia, South Africa, New Zealand, Canada, and for that matter, the United States of America.
Yep.
How did John Britton get on our team? Remember 1938? The Yankees won the pennant. Wrong way, Corrigan. The last trains ran on the 6th Avenue L. Well, John Britton got excited about the same sort of things. The bet he had on the Derby, or, as he would say, the Derby. His job. His kids. Getting his exercise on his day off. Preston North End taking the football cup.
So are they trying to show that Americans do their thing and John Britton does his thing, but together we both enjoy family, we both enjoy hobbies, we both enjoy sports, we both enjoy... Is that kind of the point that they're making? They're just like us. Yeah, I remember that because of the whole colony thing. So yeah, we haven't diverged much. Accent, language, but I mean we're more than 50% alike, less than 100%. We both can say things and we understand each other. It'd be no different than Australia, no different than New Zealand. We're shared relatives in a way. So but then again, they're explaining it to people who back then, I guess, well, they had World War I, but I would say before, well, these people probably wouldn't have been alive to fight or of fighting age in World War I. So World War II, yeah, this would probably be the first kind of thing that they would have ever experienced with John Britton. So, yeah, okay. It makes sense. I'm looking at it from the standpoint of me today, all the way back. And since the War of 1812 to World War I don't think we really had... I shouldn't say that. We were involved in helping England in Japan, or fight China. Was it I don't remember. We didn't fight China, but never mind. I forgot. I don't know what I'm saying.
Only 300 miles away, people were cheering another kind of event.
I heard I'm sorry, this is unrelated. I heard a very humorous joke today on the way home, and it said, when a Nazi went down a roller coaster, did they only throw one hand up when they were going down that peak instead of, two hands? Whoa! That made me giggle. Sorry.
And in London and every other British city and town, they read about what was going on in Europe, and they got sore about it. But they were also pretty well determined to keep it none of their business. Then, this looked bad. The Czechs had a mutual assistance pact with France, and France had one with Britain. This might mean war, even though everyone was anxious to avoid it. They'd been through one war, perhaps been wounded. Hundreds of thousands of their brothers and friends had been killed. There was nothing beautiful to them about war, and they had no desire for another.
In a last desperate effort to preserve peace, the Prime Minister today flew to Munich.
All was well, Britain, France, Italy, and Germany were signing a pact at Munich, a pact in which the Germans agreed they had no further territorial claims to make. It was to be peace in our time. But it turned out to be a strange sort of peace. Hitler's first move was to break the pact he had signed. Wishful thinking was ended. Now they knew something had to be done about Germany.
They approved the Conscription Act, the first peacetime conscription in British history, just as the Selective Service Act was the first in American history. The British had put their cards on the table. They had, in effect, said to Hitler,
"That's enough. If you go into Poland, we'll fight."
Hitler smiled. Like other would-be conquerors of Britain, Philip of Spain, Napoleon, Kaiser Wilhelm, he thought he understood the British. He didn't. The sleeping lion began to wake up. He was a pretty drowsy lion for the first 6 months of the war. He snapped and growled.
Well, to be fair, the first 6 months of the war, John Britain was maybe not necessarily prepared, so it took 6 months to prepare themselves, so they were a little slow, a little sleepy, as they said. Meanwhile, David Nazi over here, they were already preparing. They were in Czechoslovakia. They were one group. I found that when you have two sides, and one side is going, okay, we're going to start ramping up, to defend, and the other side saying, charge and kill them. That side typically has the quick advantage. And that's what happened. So yeah, it did take John Britain a little bit of time because David Nazi was already goose-stepping towards them.
But he dropped more leaflets than bombs. He hoped that common sense would return to the German people and that they would throw out Hitler and the German warlords. Instead,
England dropped leaflets in Germany. Did I understand that right? I could go back, but I'm going to pretend like I'm accurate on that one. I'm accurate? I'm right.
At dawn this morning, the German armies, without warning, invaded the neutral countries of Luxembourg, Holland, and Belgium.
The King of the Belgians today surrendered his armies of more than 500,000 men.
Marshal Pétain, as French chief of state, has asked for an armistice. The issue in France is ended.
Britain was alone. Czechoslovakia occupied, Poland defeated, Denmark gone, Norway gone, Holland, Belgium, France gone. Only Britain now. Britain was alone. Hitler considered the war over. Everybody considered the war over except the British. At the 11th hour, the lion was finally aroused.
We shall defend our island, whatever the cost may be. We shall fight on beaches, landing grounds, in fields, in streets, and on the hills. We shall never surrender.
I have so much respect for Johnny Britain. Was that the name? Did I already forget the name? Damn it. Just because they were determined. Adolf bad. I don't want to spoil that for anyone. And they refused to surrender. I wish we would have got involved a little sooner. And maybe it wouldn't have... I'm not saying that we're the deciding factor. I just wish we would have gotten a little sooner. And maybe the war could have ended a little sooner. Maybe not. But maybe if it ends a little sooner, maybe we save a couple million lives. Maybe not. Hey, what do I know? But I respect them immensely for the stand that they took. And I will always say the size of that country, like I said, Idaho. I don't think Idaho could stand up to anything. Idaho, I don't even think could stand up to like an invasion of grizzly bears. So it's amazing the fact that they did for so long. Props to them. And France too. France, certainly was there. And other countries that were involved. I'm not trying to diminish them. And props to Canada. Canada doesn't get it. Let me say that again because I don't know what I just said. Props to Canada. Canada doesn't get... Oh my God, I did it again. Canada doesn't get enough respect for what they did and the fighting that they did. I mean, they were in some of the most vicious fights. And it's nice to know that they're nearby. They probably don't like us as much. They probably think that we make fun of them. I don't. I love Canada. Had fun there. Want to go back there. But yeah, it's just not a good time. That's it. That's breaking news. I'm an idiot.
For a year, they took everything that the Nazis could throw at them. For one solid year, from June 1940 to June of 1941, they were the only major power fighting the greatest war machine in the world.
Wow.
They took body blow after body blow. Solid punches before they even had their guard up. All they did was take it on the chin and hang on to the ropes. They never went down. And while they buried their dead, they prepared grimly and defiantly for the day when they could strike back. There were no victories to cheer them on, just defeat after defeat. Some heroic, like the beaches of Dunkirk, or like the hills of Greece, where British soldiers landed to keep their pledge of honor to the Greek people. Landed knowing they were facing overwhelming odds. But some less glorious. Hong Kong and Singapore and Burma. But through all these long months, the British people were thinking and planning and working only for the day when they themselves could take the offensive. And that day came.
That made the Germans realize that war could be brought to German soil, too. Day after day, night after night. Continues in greater and greater strength. That's in the air. And on the ground, 1,500 miles away in North Africa.
Okay. This is part 1. This is going to be a 3-parter. So far, what I know about my ally, John Britton, is that they held out for a year. But they didn't just stay home and take it on the chin. They bombed Germany. Do you think that made Hitler mad? I wonder if it upset his feelings a little bit. I don't know. All right. I'm going to end this here. When I come right back, don't be shocked if I'm in the same position with the blanket and the food. Because I will be. So, like and subscribe. You can stop tweaking your nipples right now. And have a good day, have a good night.